Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Indeed.
Friday.
Good afternoon indeed.
Friday.
Everton have done the double.
Everton have done
They've done the double.
Done a treble if you include giving appeals back because they couldn't be.
Well, that was the double.
Oh, was
That was the appeal and manager of the month.
I thought you were including Brian Sorensen in there as well.
Good. Well, congratulations, Brian Sorensen.
Well done, Brian Sorensen.
Yeah. Everton women's coach.
Won a game and one manager of the month. Done to Ned. That was Ned's take on it.
1 win, 1 draw.
1 win and 1 draw. But he got manager of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Dyche got manager of the month. And Everton withdrew an appeal.
Yeah.
A lot happened.
Which technically means they won the appeal because they didn't lose it.
That's a way of looking at it. Definitely.
If I don't walk out into traffic, I don't get hit by a car.
Yeah. Who's the real winner?
So, congratulations to Everton for
Well
winning
done.
the appeal.
Don't put that on a t-shirt.
No, don't put that on a t-shirt. Put it on a mug.
What a day.
Fair enough.
What a
Fair
day.
enough. The club statement says Everton Football Club has withdrawn its appeal of the decision by the Premier League Independent Commission to impose a 2-point deduction on the club for a breach of Premier League profitability and sustainability rules for the accounting period ending in June 2023. A hearing scheduled for later this month will now not proceed, and the club will conclude the 2023-24 Premier League season with a 2-point deduction remaining in place.
Okay. It's really massive, does it? This season.
They probably looked at it and went, the money we're going to spend will go against the PSI next year.
Yeah.
So it would be...
It's not making any worse.
There's no point making any worse, is there? Let's just get on with it. And ultimately, it is just getting on with it, isn't it? Do we need the points? No, not really, because we're safe. People might argue that, or we could get another place out of it. But then we could spend that amount of money on legal fees. So they're not cheap.
Yeah.
And maybe they also feel if they can stay in the good graces of certain people, it might count for something.
Possibly, yeah.
As well. So and also we've just seen what's happened to Forest as well. So we just get on with it now, don't we? We move on. We know the situation. We have completed this season's obstacles. They're all good. Well, there's one left, but I don't think it's going to be completed this season. The ownership situation, but we move on. We move on to the game tomorrow.
It's done, isn't it?
Yeah, it's done.
It's done. So that's the way to look at it.
Big thanks, by the way, to Toffeeopolis for sending us this book. I think the name could be just for any period of Everton's time. Broken Dream, Everton, the War, and Goodison's Lost Generation. So all about the team that finished top of the league in 39, and then obviously World War II broke out. So thank you to James and the good people over there. Rob Sawyer obviously wrote it, and we're gonna get him in soon to have a chat about it. And there's going to be a lot of good Everton books and stuff coming out from them very, very soon with their new venture. A lot of good Everton writers getting together, almost like the Avengers of Everton writers. I like to feel.
Fair play. Good. It's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's start flooding the place with books.
Yeah, I mean,
the other lot.
yeah, you go into, you see everyone just Everton, the Liverpool book written by John Bishop.
It's fine, but we need to do it as well, don't we? And see where we go. Keep putting it out there. Yeah, I mean, with the appeal, we'll see what happens.
Well,
no, for next
won't see
season.
what happens.
No, for next season. I mean, that's done and dusted now, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's that 1 point, extra point thing hanging over us, isn't it?
Yeah, well,
you don't know whether
it is a point.
That's being a trade-off.
Yeah, it's a point of contention, isn't it? That they need to sort out.
And who knows? Everton may have had conversations with the Premier League. The Premier League didn't want this dragging on, regardless of it finished. They want everything finished before.
I mean, it wasn't due to start till next week. No. And what are we saying about how quick we're getting the answer now? Does that go against the whole process if you're getting the answer within days? You know what I mean? It's mad, considering that we waited nearly 3 months for another one.
That's it, isn't it? That's where we are. So we move on. That's one thing.
Yeah.
with a line drawn under it.
Yeah.
Next season, obviously, we'll see where we are.
Kevin Felbel has he's just spoken. He has confirmed that Sean Dyson himself have spoken to Seamus Coleman in the hope of staying next season. So, in other words, they've offered him a new contract. I am literally just going through it very, very quickly here, just to see what anything else he has said. He says, it is important that I'm completely candid with you. The reality is, given the regulations in place in the club's current financial position, we have to trade well. Working within such tight financial perimeters makes the job extremely difficult. Whilst we want to ensure the team is as competitive as possible, we cannot lose sight of the central objective to protect the long-term stability of the club. That does mean players will be sold, and also that every tool at our disposal will be used to secure new additions to the squad, including utilisation of the loan market. Both Sean and I understand the responsibility we have, and that is responsibility which has to be our priority. That may not be exciting to hear, but under our current circumstances, it is the right thing for Everton. Within that context, I ask you to be patient and understanding of the steps that we are taking. Identifying the right players to fit with the DNA of Everton is also vitally important. Our fitness record, not just in terms of match data for each game, but also in terms of availability of players, has shown significant season-on-season improvement with our men's senior team. We will target the right players to maintain our positive trajectory in that respect, whilst adding new dimensions to our squad to ensure we deliver more goals and enhance defensive resilience that has seen us only bettered by Arsenal, this team for clean sheets. So there you go. Basically, some people are getting sold and will be replaced by people on loan. Happy summer.
It's where we are, though.
Yeah.
There's no point moaning about it. Just where we are. And, just don't blow money, Mr. Felwell. Simple as.
Yeah.
Neil Mopars of the world. We don't get players that we need. And there's a big world out there. That's all I'd say.
Yeah. No, that's it, isn't it? That's it. Yeah.
Well, they're obviously... Everton will be open. Neil Mopai will be bought by Brentford.
Yeah.
I imagine that'll probably be half what we pay for, but it gets him out the door and gets some money back in. Amadou Onana will go.
What's he got on his... Did he sign a 3-year contract? So this is his last year.
A year left, I think.
So, yeah.
Onana will go, won't he?
Yeah. And then there'll be a decision made on Brandtwaite.
If a big comes in, which is sad, but obviously that's where we are. And the club is in a difficult position at the moment until he get into the new stadium. So
yeah,
and it's probably it is even worse because we haven't got an ownership in place that could make funds available and bring in better deals and all of that. Everything's up in the air. That's probably all he can say just right now.
Yeah. He's added a little bit about the women's team as well, looking for a more sustainable approach, and it's just they have the same problems, if not even worse, the women's team, because of the way it is. But that does mean they have brought a little bit of youth into the team, which is really good for them. So it is. He's just saying, be prepared for a tough summer, and maybe deals won't get done till probably towards the back end of the summer either, really, with the kind of people we're looking for. I'm sure work's been underway for a long time. And I think, the Onana one's really interesting, because who do you see coming in for him? Because that's more the question, isn't it? Not selling him. I think we all know he's going. And a lot of us expected him to go last summer. But it's who comes in for him I find fascinating.
I don't know. Because when you look at the teams near the top, if he's to stay in England, do Arsenal need him?
No.
They've got Declan Rice, haven't they? Odegaard they only have one like that. He would be good for Arsenal, but do they need him? City wouldn't touch him, I don't think. Liverpool wouldn't come for him, although Liverpool could do with him. United's midfield is terrible at times, defensively. Well, it's terrible. So they could do with them, but would they come from? I don't know. Villa aren't going to come for him. Spurs aren't going to come for him.
Does it have to be this country, though?
No, I'm just looking at this country with the money. So then, if you ignore, he was linked with Bayern Munich again.
I was just about to say Bayern Munich.
He was linked with them again last week. But what are they paying?
Yeah, well, that's
40 million's not enough.
No, it's not, but
it's got to be 50 million at least.
They might pay.
Newcastle is a shout, but then they're going to have to sell Bruno Gomes to make sure they don't fail. So where's the money coming from for them? That is a tricky one. It's a tricky one. Now he's been linked with Paris, he's been linked with Barca, he's been linked with Bayern. We'll see. It's up to his agent now to do the deal, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
But I mean, the reason why Arsenal mentioned again a couple of days ago, I think it was, because obviously Thomas Partey's leaving, isn't he?
But also, you're going deep into competitions as well. You need as many players as you can, and they've done pretty well this season. Going deep in the Champions League and obviously take the Premier League all the way to the last day.
I think he'd be brilliant for Arsenal. I think Arteta would have him sorted. They play football, don't they? They pass the ball.
There was a stat last night I seen. I can't remember what it was, but he was the best at it in Europe.
He's a good player.
So,
I know.
No, I don't really know.
I know some of our fans don't like him, but he's a good player.
Yeah.
You'll see how good he is when he goes and plays with other good players.
I think we all know.
Under a better manager.
Just in a style that suits the way he plays.
Better manager.
Taking the ball off the back four and then progressing it. He's a good player to have to help beat the press because he's so good in possession and he doesn't get flustered. And
big physical, isn't he?
Yeah.
So, but for us, obviously, the managers found ways around not playing him. So therefore, he makes sense if you can get money for him because it's not going to make any difference to your team. The Branthwaite one's the tough one because he's key.
Because he's integral.
But then if Everton if Everton can do a couple of other things and be able to keep hold of him, seems unlikely, but you never know, do you? What would you do if two bids came in, one for Branthwaite and one for Jordan Pickford?
I don't know where this Jordan Pickford comes from, though.
Apparently Chelsea have made him their number one target, haven't they? But regardless of that. But imagine if they did, which one would you choose?
I'd sell Pickford.
Would you?
Yeah.
I think he's probably easier to replace.
No, I think he is.
He's had a great season.
No, he has.
He's 12 clean sheets and all that. Fantastic. But what I mean by that is you can get by with a steady keeper, can't you? Whereas with Jared Branthwaite, we're going to have to go and get another centre-back and start again with Tarkowski. And it can't be, without being disrespectful to Michael Keane, it can't be Michael Keane.
Not a chance.
Ben Godfrey operates better as a full-back.
Not good enough.
The drop-off would be huge with Jared going and putting them in. So we'd have to, and we've spoke about Jacob.
Look straight. We've had the balance though this season more than anything. We've had a balance. Got a left-footed, left-sided centre-back. We've had balance.
Well, Jacob Greaves could come in.
Yeah.
From Hull. But is he ready? Is he good? He's not Branthwaite's level, obviously.
No. But he'd be a good option because of his age and because he is left-sided and because he does play a lot of games, which means he can get that. But yeah, I mean, you wouldn't want to sit. You wouldn't. I think that the thing about at least with Branthwaite is if you can keep Branthwaite, then you know you're going to sell him in either next summer or the summer after. So you've got that year sorted as well in a way. Yeah. Pickford's one of them where you wouldn't want to see him go. And I don't really see anyone coming in.
I just can't. I'm just saying.
I just can't see it.
When you look through our team, you go, who's likely to attract the bid? That's what we're saying, aren't we? And there's only really 3 players.
Yeah.
I
mean, listen, he is whatever people say about Pickford, he is a top goalkeeper because you do look at some of the other goalkeepers about and just not even they're not like as assured. I don't know whether Virginia will be ready to play, but he's there and he's an option, and he's come in and he's played in the first team. I don't think he's anywhere near as good as Pickford, clearly. but that would save you money straight off having that, and then
it's a risk, though.
It is a risk, but who else?
Just because he's not.
You're paying, then you're using some of that money to go and buy someone who is, you're asking to do the same job as Jordan Pickford, and that's a big issue.
What I would say, I think it's Curtis. I'm not talking about selling Pickford for PSR. I can care less about PSR at the moment, to be honest with you. Talking about creating money to bring players in for us. And Chris kind of goes on my thinking of, if keeping Branthwaite meant we had to suck up a 3 or 4 point deduction next season, would you do it? Absolutely. If we now know what we're dealing with in terms of points deductions, then why not? Why not play along those lines and cope with the 4 points and go, right, lads, we've got to make it up in a different way for this season. Not sure the club will look at it like that, but we know now, don't we?
We're experts.
And you know, who's to say it's going to play out the same way anyway now? They're looking for changing the rules anyway. It's going to play out differently, I imagine. Everton, if you're looking for that summer market, you know, there'll be obviously big savings wages-wise, like Jose Gomez going out the door. Like we said before, Neil Maupay will fetch some money in, won't he? You know, Mason Holgate, Michael Keane might fetch some money.
You've got to cut the fat off, haven't you? You've got to cut everybody out of the squad who doesn't play. So Holgate, obviously Maupay, who've been on loan. You're going to get rid of, obviously, as you mentioned, their players who are going to be.
Dan Humer's on a good wage.
Yeah, so he's going.
Back. And you'll be able to spread some of that money onto new loan players and other players that you're trying to buy in, so the wage bill improves. It's what funds can you create cash-wise, isn't it? Now, imagine there's a £20 million hole in the PSR. So, you say, I don't know, just for argument's sake, Amadou Onana gets 50 million quid. And that covers a sell-on, covers what he's got left, and you clear £25 million profit. Clear. Well, if that wipes out the PSR, say the PSR issue, you put a bit of that, whatever's left, in the pot. You throw the Maupay money in the pot. You get some, and if you can build that pot up to cash-wise to say £30 million, then you're creating some money to go and bring 4 or 5 in. They've got to be obviously. Some of them will be risky, of course, but you've got to do that. And that's what we'll have to do. And then that might save you not selling Jarrod Branthwaite. And then going, like you just said, we're going to have to sell him next summer.
Oh, yeah,
because that then creates that.
And he'd be worth more next summer.
More. And that's how you have to do it. And we might not like it, but until we get ourselves, into the new stadium, and don't forget the new stadium, even by, and I think Paul Diesca's done this as well, even with some reserved estimates, could create like £40-50 million extra this season. That's huge for us, because if you do get into that in the foothills of buying players and only having to put £3-5 million down for some of them, but I know it's a commitment each year, but then you start being able to balance. And then
you imagine match day, the new stadium will make at least 40 million extra a season, and then with the outside events and stuff,
I think it's been
northwards of 50.
People who are more intelligent than me at these numbers and that have had a reserved figure of around 50 million for the season now. For other clubs, that's nothing. But for Everton Football Club right now, that's huge. And that's when we get into what you were saying yesterday. It's like when you get whoever the owners are coming, just doing some little changes will start creating money for Everton.
Of course it will.
And then before you know it, if you could, as you just put it again, trim the fat, start making those small marginal gains, better merchandise so people spend the money, get more money off the fans, better commercial deals, all of that stuff then adds up and adds up and adds up, and then you start being able, and then it all comes back to one thing, and that one thing is recruitment. If you recruit correctly, your team finishes higher, you get more prize money. If you keep building on top of that, eventually you get into Europe, more prize money. You could win a European trophy. West Ham United have proved that. maybe if Villa would have been a little bit sharper with what they were doing, focus-wise. I know it's difficult because the Champions League's such a big thing, but they might have won it as well, but they still got to the semis in it. There's opportunities there. Do you know what I mean? And everything you have to build on that. But right now, where we are in a hole, we've got to cut our cloth accordingly, haven't we? And yet, who's just said the Mr. GKH01? Isn't a pot already going to be empty as we still have to pay for Beto? Well, Beto is spread, isn't it? So we will have to pay some money for him this summer. Absolutely, we will. So we've just got to look and see and juggle, really. That's the way it is. We've got to juggle, and if we could keep Jaraplanthwaite outstanding. If we can't, then squeeze whoever it is for as much as possible, and then you can rebuild the team, basically, off Jaraplanthwaite's money, if you do it correctly. Sure, Sean Dyche, that'll be probably the one he doesn't want to lose, because his whole ethos is built on his defence. And so he, I'm sure, will be like, what can we do not to lose?
Yeah.
Who knows? Could be Abdoulaye Doucouré. Got a year left. There's some apparently Saudi clubs are sniffing around, and he might look and go, you know what? Big move there, some big money. Don't know. Maybe, but he's 30, isn't he? Or 31. He's got a year left. Everton have got some decisions on those players. Don't forget, he's got Garner, who I don't think we can allow to walk out the door. I think with Doucouré, I think there's options around the squad. I mean, you've mentioned Schmidt in that, and obviously that's a hit and miss one because he's young, but certainly I think Dwight McNeil can go and do that job, because I think you get Dwight McNeil central where pace isn't massively important. It's great, but if you can get Dwight McNeil on the ball 25, 30 yards out, and you're saying to him, Dwight, just get it out your feet and hit it. We saw the shot that smashed against the crossbar the other week, and we've seen him hit the bar of the post at Wolves away from that central area from 35 yards out. He's banged goals, and against Forest, wasn't it? The second goal against Forest. He hit from 25 yards. So we haven't got another player in the team that does that. No. Gylfi used to do it for us, didn't he? Come up with them. And then what that would enable us to do then is to put a little bit of pace in the wide area where we don't have any.
I think we'll be like, again, be like a summer like last summer where we're trying to structure deals that suit us, and the opposition feel like they can, they'll get the money how they want it over a period of time. So yeah, we have to put money down this year for Beto, but it's not all the money.
No.
And then we might bring people in who we pay for next summer. And of course, from next summer onwards, as we've said, things are going to start looking better, because there is obviously more money coming into the club, guaranteed more money coming into the club. Absolutely guaranteed. We know that for a fact. There's going to be 13,000 more people coming to every home game. Should be more. So the money that brings in, and then obviously the money 52,000 people bring into a stadium, in and around stadium, will bring more money into the club. So they're going to have more money straight away. We have to be clever, but I think what we have got is a guy who is the director of football, who understands that, because he was there last year and has understand that the whole time he's been at Everton. And Sean Dyche doesn't mind playing in that sort of sandpit either, because that's all he's ever been used to. So I haven't got anyone who's going to be surprised by the situation. They're not surprised. They know exactly what the job is. And that is the job, isn't it? You know what I mean? People, it's not great, but that's their job. That's their job to come up with really good solutions for Everton to have players who are good enough to play in the Premier League, and they've got to do that. But it's not like someone's just going to drop the bombshell on them. They have known that for a very long time.
See, there's things like this that Phil, I don't agree with, that the extra stadium income will just go into paying off the debts.
Well, it won't.
It won't though, will it? Because one thing I think a lot of people seem to have missed the point with this season. I don't know, we've had a lot to contend with, and the numbers end up making your mind explode, don't they, at times? But Everton have built a stadium. Once the stadium's paid off, Everton own it. There's no mortgage like Tottenham have got of 1.3 billion for a stadium. Now, you could argue, and I think you'd be correct to argue, had we took a mortgage, we'd have been much better off than we are now. But the fact is, and John said this, and I've seen other people saying it, and that, journalists saying it. When Everton, there's a report today in the Telegraph that says it. If Everton get over this hump where they are now, they own a £1 billion asset, apart from the football club, which is the stadium. That'll be paid off. Therefore, the debts that, the reason why they've had 30 million a month off, or whatever it is, every 6 weeks, isn't it, off 777, whatever it's been, has been because there is still incurring stadium costs. And of course, you got the day-to-day running. But what they're trying to do with the day-to-day running is reduce the wage bill of players. Yeah. Now, this is why there's a bit of a discussion about Abdoulaye Doucouré here as well. I mean, Darren says Doucouré needs often. His wages are way too high for his output. And others have, we're in the same kind of position that we were with Alex Iwobi, where he's getting big money for his output. Now, Doucouré's been really good for Dice, he has. And I've liked him. I think he's been a good signing for Everton. Really. I think he can do a few roles. But if he is on £100,000 a week, he's 31.
Yeah.
We've got to be smarter. You can get a player that in Europe who will add 6 to 8 goals, who will probably be on 30 and 40 grand a week. And if they do develop, then you sell them, don't you? And I think what I'm trying to come to terms with more in my head is that thing of being comfortable with selling players. It has been for so long, and it's right, we all kind of do it. It's a thing of like, it's almost like a pride thing of like, you can't survive without selling your player. And also it's a realisation that when you get a good player, they're going to go, so you can never kind of make up the ground. But, and again, I'll use this, and I know I'll get criticism, it's fine, but Brighton as an example have done that. I think where Brighton and Everton would differ is that I think Everton are a bigger club anyway, but I think Brighton have just got into the habit of just selling those players for the sake of it, just because the money looks good. And I think Everton have to be careful. If that is a model they follow, I think Everton would have to be careful with that. I think selling, kind of like the way David Moyes did it, when you have to.
Yeah, at the very, very last minute.
Just accepting you're just going to sell. Yeah. No matter what the thing is, just to keep the money coming in. Well, Brighton have struggled with that this season. But what they have proven is if you do your recruitment correctly, you can get that upward turn where the money's coming in and everything's developing well. Just imagine if they'd have kept, say, 2 of the players they've moved on.
You should only sell like 1 a summer. 1 a summer to keep like the walls at the door and keep everything ticking over. For me, it's we've got to get control back of the situation, and we obviously aren't in control of the situation. The stadium will give us a little bit more.
Posh Matty, spot on as well. Sorry, just says you don't have to pay debt off. You just have to be able to sustain.
Ultimately, 1 or 2 things is going to happen. 3 things. Someone comes in and buys us and just clears all the debt. It's
unlikely, but
it's unlikely. The second option is the option the media are running with, which is administration, which is someone will look at the situation and go, why would we clear your debts when we could wait for you to go on administration? You've already proved you can cope with a points deduction, and we'll take that points deduction because it'll save us hundreds of millions of pounds.
That'd have to be now, though. I think the cut-off for the 9 points.
No, but I mean, it'd be for next season, wouldn't it?
I would take 9 next season.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to get done this season. I'd imagine. And the other one is someone comes in, buys the club, and restructures the debt. Makes the debt over a longer period with a lower interest rate. That's what's killing us. The interest rate is what is killing us. Everyone has debt. Every club has debt. No football club is debt free. It's the interest rate that's killing us because we're getting payday loans.
Yeah.
That was started by, our esteemed last chairman who decided that was the only way that he could, instead of selling the club, he started getting payday loans from various shady people. That's what brought in, players in the late 2000s, the likes of Yakubu and Andy Johnson and people like that were brought in because of those loans. Sadly, they're the 3 things that will happen. You know, and this idea that I don't think anyone would agree that this idea that, you know, what, every time we play a game and we get some money, we're just going to hand it over to pay a loan back. That's not how anyone's loans work, is it? It's not how loans work. You get a repayment plan. We'll have a repayment plan with all. The problem is, at the moment, it's massive and we can't get it down because of the interest rate. So we have to get that more long term with a lower interest rate. You know, everyone knows that. You know, your mortgage was going down a lot quicker when the interest rate was 0.5 to now it's 5% or whatever it is, and half, you know, a chunk of it now is just paying interest, and it's not going down as fast, and you're paying more money. So that they are the situation. Just that from an outside company, administration for them makes more sense, but administration is. It's not a good thing. It's not a good look, you know, and it will cut right to the heart of the football club in many ways, including lots of people would lose their jobs.
I don't think Everton are even closer administration.
I don't think they're closer. What I'm saying is it's an option for those people who want to come in and almost starve the club. It's almost like there's people out there who could take over, but they can just let the club starve.
You know what's mad? Why do people think that, though? I seen you tweet this last night, and you're absolutely right. Is that, I don't say that very often. But why would anyone want to back an establishment like that who would rather we go into administration and then believe that they've got our club at best interest? It's a load of nonsense. And yet some of those people are giving more credence to them than 777, who, and I 777, I've said the other day, I think Farhad Moshiri should pull the plug now. If they or give them till 5 o'clock tomorrow night, or no, what day's Friday, 5 o'clock tonight, and you can't bomb it. Get rid of it. But what I mean is they've paid money and kept the club afloat, and yet I know all the stuff that goes with them, and it doesn't look good, let's be honest. But I still sort of go, what's mad to me is why you would rather these who want to run the club into the ground, why are they getting more kind of leeway than these who have paid someone? Listen, it's not their money, it doesn't seem like, but they give money to keep the club going along. For what it's worth, I'd be looking somewhere else. But it's not me. It's not my club. I'd have been doing, I've said this before, I still put this firmly in the lap of the Premier League for not saying, once I get all the other stuff, right? I get all the other stuff, which is, you know, they've got to show this money and they've got to show that money and all of that. I get that. But the minute they said, we are going to pass this takeover, but with these conditions, those 4 conditions should have had a 30-day expiration period, I think. So if it was the 1st of April, by the 30th of April, 777 should have had to do those 4 things. Otherwise, that was that should have just been rejected. And it isn't. So the Premier League have still got us by the short and curly, or have had us by the short and curly all season. It seems. That's my.
No. I mean, ultimately, it's a. I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't have allowed them to put money into the club, and that you know.
Well, that might have made Farhad Moshiri speed his bleeding decision.
Exactly. Maybe that shouldn't be. That extra debt shouldn't be, shouldn't be, whichever way you look at it, shouldn't be allowed to put on the club, because, you know, who knows, the situation has played out the way it has. But yeah, it's just a really tough moment at the moment, because we're not in control. We're just not in control of the situation, and until we get that control back, then we are going to see these stories for a very long time.
Well, these at the moment are easy stories. Yeah. Because, you know, we've lost Mathew. He seems to have...
He's gone, hasn't he? He's got made redundant.
Got made redundant while I was away, yeah. So, you know, good luck to Matt, whatever he's doing. Probably looking for other stories to make up. But, so there's a big gaping hole, and what did he do? They look and go, well, this will wind Everton up. Won't it? Well, let's do it. No, but it's what I mean is, it's basically TalkSport, isn't it? It's TalkSport. What they used to do with Arsenal, because they knew Arsenal fans were triggered. Now they know Evertonians triggered. So
administration, though, is an avenue. That's the thing. It can't be like, it's not. It is there. It is a real thing. It is what would happen to a normal company in this amount of debt. It is an avenue that a lot of people believe Everton will have to go down because we're carrying so much debt, but we have to buck that trend. We have to do it differently if we possibly can, because of course with that, you know, if your club goes into administration, of course you don't. There's a lot that goes with that. There's a lot of, you know, I don't think you can, you know, you can, you know, your credit rate, you don't, you can't get credit and all that kind of thing. Everything goes.
People lose their job. You know, the sunny day bit of it is you clear debts and all that, but
I'm not even comfortable with that. I'll be honest with you. I'm not comfortable with that. But people are owed money.
Yeah, but what I was going to say was people are owed money. So what happens is, just if it was Jared Brandwaite and Ned's the fella in charge, and he looks and someone goes, yeah, we'll buy Jared Brandwaite Toffee for 30 million. Ned doesn't care as the administrator that Jared Brandwaite's probably worth 75 million.
Desk.
And if you battle it, he just goes 30 million, that'll do.
Yeah.
And that comes in, that's gone. So you've lost 40.
It goes straight to the credits.
And they start looking to pay out the club.
Yeah.
You know, and you lose, just in this example, £45 million that you could have been gambling with, which would have actually more than what you've got in the first place. And we've seen it at lots of clubs. People don't get paid. People lose money. And when you look at it like that, Farhad Moshiri, this is why, and this has been said anyway, hasn't it? So I'm not saying anything new. But Farhad Moshiri's not prepared to let it go into administration. So he'll try and fund it himself. If you're 777, if you're MSP, I've seen people going, they'll just take control of the club. I'm convinced it's that simple to just take control of it because you're owed some money. Because right media funding could take control of the football club.
Well, he could take control of it between them.
They could between them,
and then look for an owner.
Look to sell it.
Look for an owner and get their money back through that way. And that makes a lot more sense. And I've seen people mention that.
Yeah.
Because you know, that is a way that, you know, that becomes equity. They own the football, de facto own the football club, and they get the money back that way. That would be the best solution. But certainly if MSP, from what we're led to believe, just want their money back,
they don't want
surely that's a better way than to get it back. Then if Everton can almost prove that they can run day to day, you know, if they and it's someone like MSP and, you know, come in and say, right, we'll put some measures in place and, you know, help cut costs, but obviously not to a point where it's going to be detrimental to the running of the football club, then that would make more sense. Find a buyer that way. I think at the moment people are scared of who they're buying off, and they're also scared of what it says on the debt sheet at the end of the day. They see that number and it must be very intimidating for someone looking at it going, the offset to that is the stadium, isn't it? You get if it was Goodison Park and you looked at it, you go,
yeah, of course,
I've got to pay all that money. At least with this, you're gonna get a stadium that hasn't even been, you know, completed yet, and is, you know, by the time things get sorted, you get this stadium with it as well.
It needs someone with obviously a desire.
Of course, it does.
That's what it needs,
and deep pockets.
It double yet and no, because, you know, John Blaine said this before. Everton could actually, I've seen this not just from John, I've seen this the other day actually, talking about ways out of it. Everton could sell some of the stadium off and still keep controlling rights. In fact, even in bleeding Ted Lasso, they do that. He wants to sell 40%.
And we know how realistic that is.
Well, exactly. But Everton could sell some, you know, 30-40% of that stadium and then obviously share some of the profits with the... There's ways, but get a huge amount of money in straight away to clear stuff. So there is ways around it. I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do. I'm just saying there are avenues open to it. It is what it is, isn't it? The whole thing is... the biggest thing you just said before we started that bit was restructuring the debt. Get them repayments down. And that's how you have to do. You've got to get the situation has only really spiraled out of control because we have been building a stadium. And that's just a fact of life. And once that stadium is built, them costs come right back down. And we're nearly at the end of that. So at the moment, it's almost like false. It's almost like false. What's the best way to put it? it's not real right now, because this isn't a thing that is ongoing, because you're not going to still need to keep building the stadium.
Yeah.
And then when we move into it, obviously it creates a big... But right now we're in a sticky situation.
Yeah.
So the environment is unstable right now, but it's worse, in a much worse situation, because we don't have someone who has grabbed it and gone, right, what do we need to do? How can we make that better? How can we get more for a shared sponsor? Why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that? We said earlier in the week, this will be the first time the football club for 25 years or more has had fresh thinking into it. But it is, though, isn't it? Mashiri, let's be honest, like Mashiri, Usmanov, whoever it is who owns it, right, come in and just thought splashing money around was the way to get there. And obviously they didn't want to, they only really wanted to put the tip in and take all the kudos of Everton being in the top four, didn't he? And trying to win things. Yeah. Because it'd been done before. The difference with what had happened before was that there was no real regulation. Yeah. Man City had 2 takeovers, don't forget. Yeah. It was only in the second takeover, and they still took 2 years to win a trophy, having spent a lot of money. Shinawatra come in, spunked a load of money. City, one of the performances that Shinawatra team had was an 8-1 defeat at Middlesbrough. So, them players... I think there was only Vincent Kompany. Yeah, probably, was there someone like that who survived? So they were able to right the wrongs. Now, if there wouldn't have been this kind of PSR stuff in for Mashiri and Usmanov until the conflict and COVID, I'm quite sure they wanted to keep putting more money. Well, they did. They told Carlo they were going to give him 200 million in that summer to spend, and yet, which is why in one of the press conferences, Carlo Ancelotti was laughing at.
So Benitez then.
Benitez got told, and then someone went, actually, Farhad, we can't spend that money because we're going to get... So, the whole, false economy. Well, no, not false economy. No. What I'm saying is now's the false set of circumstances. It's not a true reflection of what our finances are, because we've got this big thing that we have to shell out for there as well, Dean. It's been false economy, what Everton have done in terms of Mashiri. Just, throw that money at the wall, see if it sticks. Why we're where we are.
Well, it's an outside entity, isn't it? It's something. The stadium is something that can't start making money for us for another year or so. So, club. The circumstances of when it started getting built. COVID, the war in Ukraine, all those things played its part in Everton not being able to get someone to help finance it, because also the club would have been paid over 30 years with a mortgage, which is debt. The problem is it's getting paid with short-term debt with very large interest, and if you're only paying off the interest, you're never paying off the debt. It's going to keep growing.
So it needs a resolution. We keep saying it, don't we? Sheffield United at home tomorrow.
Yes.
Opportunity for Everton to sign off on a high. With a victory against the team already relegated, the team that continues to concede goals, 100 goals conceded for them. Only the second team in Premier League history to do it. And if Everton were to win, it'd be 5 home wins on the run, which would be a great way to finish the season at Goodison Park, wouldn't it? Yeah, with
all the... not doom and gloom as such, but obviously this week has sort of flipped a little bit, hasn't it? We were all happy. We're all happy that we're safe, but obviously now we're getting back to the reality of the situation. Just be nice to see us win a game. Nice send off for the season, and then obviously to the last game of the season, and then attention will start turning to how we're going to sort all this out. So, but let's be nice to focus. For a long time, we didn't want to focus on anything, but it'd be nice to actually focus on the football tomorrow. It's a long time since we've been able to say that.
Just go in and just enjoy a game of footy without the pressures of what victories do and do not mean. Hopefully we do get the victory. We're capable of getting the victory, more than capable of getting the victory. And it'd be lovely for Everton just to put them to bed tomorrow. Yeah, sign off with a a good home victory.
Yeah, just a good home victory.
3 or 4-0 would be lovely. Get some goals.
No, it would.
But what do we need? What do we need to finish with?
7.
Is it to be? It's not 7. Shut up. That would be lovely. What do we need? We're on. What have we got? We scored 38 goals. So come on, get 3 or 4. So that we finish with more than a goal a game. I mean, if we score tomorrow, obviously we will.
No, what would be nice is if we were to win tomorrow, get to 40 points. Brentford get beat at Bournemouth, and we've got the spot then, haven't we? We stay above them.
Yeah.
No.
Well, Bournemouth should really beat them.
That'd be a nice end. That would be nice.
Because Bournemouth have been flying, haven't they?
Next to £3 million.
Yeah, that's how important it is. I mean, Brentford have got Bournemouth away, Newcastle at home. So
yeah.
Newcastle are flying, but we'll probably need to get something on that last day.
Yeah. No, it's
so
all
they're
good.
Tough ones, but it will be interesting. And then we're back on the grass, as Sean says, tomorrow.
Back on the grass.
But yeah, it is going to be roasting as well tomorrow.
It is.
Isn't it? Hottest day of the year.
Get your shorts on.
So far.
Get your shorts
on.
on.
Yeah, you get your shorts on. So it'll be a slower pace, and obviously both teams, there's not going to be any edge to it.
No.
So Everton have just got to make sure that they take it. Take the opportunities. Emma, just on the stadium thing, says, does it not make it more crazy how dire our situation is financially that we won't be moving into Bramley-Moore Dock as soon as it's ready? It does.
Don't.
It does. When you see things like this, you do just go, what is going on? Who are these decision makers at Goodison or at the Liver Buildings or the owner? Who's making these decisions when we have got a big financial hole that we're just going, leave the stadium empty for 8 months? You know, if you're flush with money and it doesn't matter and you go, listen, it's not, you know, it just seems mad. It's crazy. It seems mad, but that's the decision you've come up with. And I don't see them changing it unless new owners come in and go, this is absolutely the wrong decision. I'm sorry, but we're changing it. Black and Blue says, arriving at Lime Street Station, then up to Goodison Park for the stadium tour, then back tomorrow for the game. Up the Toffees, and well done, Trachi Deitch, for Manager of the Month award. Alex says, afternoon, lads. With the new stadium's limitations in terms of expansion potential, are we putting ourselves at risk in 10 to 20 years' time when it comes to what the stadium generates compared to other clubs? Even with safe standing, we'll reach a capacity ceiling below other clubs in the league. So in terms of revenue, that puts us further away. Villa, Newcastle and Wolves all looking at expanding.
Yeah, but can they fill them?
Newcastle won't expand.
Wolves?
Yeah, Wolves only holds 30,000.
Would Wolves really get, 60,000?
Villa would. Newcastle would if they could extend it. It's just where it is. It makes it difficult. Doesn't mean they won't.
So what? Hang on. What do? Do you just build a stadium in the middle of nowhere and just keep adding layers to it? I mean, what do you do? Manchester United have got 70, 80,000. They're looking to build a new stadium. Liverpool, can they really get any bigger where they are? Well, they'd have to knock down another street and close a road, and that's 60.
Force people out, yeah.
That's 60. Arsenal, they'd have to build a new stadium if they wanted to. West Ham have to keep their ticket prices quite low to fill their stadium, which is great. Don't get me wrong. Tottenham is a different model, and they're going to rely on the NFL money, and that's actually going to be more effective than any other stadium because of the way they've done it. So I don't know what we could have done. Yes, our stadium could have been a little bit bigger, but I love the location. I just think it makes it so unique, the location.
Well, we could have been in Stone. If we'd have built the Stone Cross one, we'd have been in years ago. And it could have had 75,000 there in a Meccano stadium, couldn't we?
But it'd be on the East Lancs. It would be nothing nice about it.
Just be what it is.
Yeah, it would. Listen, each to their own. I wish ours was a little bit bigger, but at the same time, I'm very, very happy with it.
But if Everton got it with safe standing up to 60, I know they said 62,000. I don't think they'd ever. But if Everton got it to 60,000 with safe standing or 58,000, I think that's all right.
They could start changing pushing to change the legislation and try and get it to 1.5, then
it should be.
Then you've got an extra 3,500-4,000 in the ground.
You can get 3,000 by just changing the dimension of the seats, apparently. It's 1 to 1.1.
I don't think that's ever going to happen. No.
It's not going to happen because you've got no one with vision in the club. Liam says definitely the right decision, Harry. The points now get Garner signed on for another year and buy 2 Adama Traores. Keithy says, why? I know there's always the thinking the appeal could result in more points. It was never going to get any more points. But realistically, we could only ever get points back. Why deny that opportunity? Could make the difference of a league place, which would mean extra money.
I don't think it will. These things cost a lot of money, by the way. These are not cheap now. Don't get. Everton have made obviously a calculated decision.
Hang on, 2 more points. Say we got the 2 back, we'd have 39. We'd be 4 behind Crystal Palace. We're not. I'm sorry to be pessimistic, but we aren't winning at Arsenal. No. Because they are miles better than us. They could be winning the league that day. 6 points. So, all right, say Palace lost at Wolves tomorrow and we beat Sheffield United. Then we'd be 3 points behind Crystal Palace, who were at home last day. Aren't they? So,
listen, AI Cole's made his decision. He's made his call.
I just think Everton have obviously, like you've just said, they're probably looking and going, money-wise, is it worth it? Are we going to really get anything back? Forest didn't get
They might have looked at the Forest one and just gone, look at the reasons, what were the reasons we were presenting, and gone, we're not getting anything here. It's a fella in a suit on a warm day, locked in a room.
We've got to just take our meds.
Yeah, it's done, innit?
I don't know. Got to just move on. John said, don't get it though. If the club felt the extra points deduction was wrong, then is it not wrong now?
We don't need it though. We don't need it, do we? I mean, you could do it for the principle. I said the minute we'd won the derby, just pull it. Sorry, Brentford game, just pull it now. We're done. We're safe.
In some respects, isn't it better to just be like, yeah, we're done with it?
Yeah, it's done.
Rather than it carrying on. Don't know. Lynn says they traded the appeal for the Trachy Dice Award.
Fair play.
James says, follow on from Rana Tower. I was in the Falklands in 2008. Left the day after we beat United in the semi-finals. Back in the September. That year I had a winter, spring, autumn, winter. Is it okay?
What?
I don't know.
What were you, but we were asking what we were there for, James.
He also says, is getting MSP back involved something Everton would do? Can see the board meeting now with Colin Young saying to Mashiri, hey lad, bell MSP again.
MSP are always involved because we owe them money. It wasn't the club that stopped MSP taking over. It was rights and media funding that stopped them.
Okay. Mark Mack says, are you not a little bit gutted? We don't need 3 points to stay up. No, not in the slightest.
No, I'm actually delighted.
Thrilled. Alexander says, hi boys, hope you're doing well. Heard the other day you said maybe Seamus could retire and go straight into the Ireland job. It got me thinking, do you ever think he could become the Everton manager sometime in the future?
Yeah, of course he could. That's what he wants. He's already started coaching, been doing it all season. Started it last summer. Yeah, he could do that, couldn't he? Got to get on the right pathway though. I don't think staying at the club, as we've seen from other people, necessarily works at that. People want to see evidence that you can do the job.
Paul says, with the appeal being piled, do we think it has anything to do with the deal being done with the Premier League? R.E. the outstanding amount that couldn't be agreed? Possibly. Possibly, because a lot of accountants are saying the Premier League have got no grounds to be complaining. You've got no grounds. Because what Everton did was illegal accounting practice. It's because the Premier League don't like the fact Everton did it. Doesn't mean anything. I don't like the fact the Premier League have had us off all season and are still doing it in terms of the takeover stuff instead of making the decision. But Can't change it, can I? Mark says we need Everton murals around the city. City is sick of seeing the red-shaped ones. Keaty doesn't agree with the decision to withdraw the appeal. Regarding saving money, surely we're that far into the appeal, most of the legal fees have been paid already. No, because we'd then have another 3-day appeal where we'd have to pay a KC as well, wouldn't we? And that would all be ongoing until the decision was made.
Ultimately, they've made the decision, and I don't really think it needs any more thinking about.
Done. It's done, isn't it? Keith Bradley says, I've convinced myself Dice is wearing black shoes with the strahi.
Keith, like he's going out for a pint of milk.
Yeah. Keithy also says, I think Pickford is as important as Branthwaite. But as you mentioned, we can get a steady keeper, but who? There's loads of goalies, mate. Come on. Think you're forgetting how many points he's saved us. Only big name player we should sell is Onana. What we're saying is, Keithy, we might have to sell more than Onana. So the question was, who would you rather sell, Branthwaite or Pickford? You seem to be linking it, sort of. You're saying Pickford is more important, it seems, than Branthwaite. Fine, no problem with that, mate. Conrad says Plymouth keeper's a good choice, very highly rated, only 23, and is better than our current number 2. John says next summer, under the new regulations, it's unlikely we would have to sell Branthwaite. We should look to the future, build it around him. He might want to stay though, might he? Mark says Delhi off the wage bill is massive as well. John would drive the Core to a new club. DB says just a comment on the media narrative that's getting under my skin. Brighton and Brentford are being touted as ideally run clubs, both for finishing the season in the bottom half and worse than last season, with bigger teams buying their best players and staff. I can remember when everyone pointed to Southampton as a well-run club, and they ran their club so well it's in the Championship. The fact is selling all your players and getting relegated isn't sustainable either. No, but you can create money from it. It's good practice to do it. We just said before, Brighton have sold too many. It's as simple as that. Got to be a balance, hasn't it?
Yeah, they got carried away last summer.
James says, lads, look at Alan Myers' tweet from earlier. He says if we went into administration before the season's out, it applies this season. Okay, but that's not what has been reported everywhere else. It was March the 5th at 5 o'clock. It applies next season or something, but I don't know. Alan probably looked into it. But the club's not going to go into administration in the next 7 days, 10 days. So John says if the club does go into administration, the administrator would sell all our assets to repay our creditors. All the best players go. The ground could be sold. People lose their jobs. There'd be nothing left for a new buyer. And Danny says if it takes longer than a week to go into administration, so don't worry about it for this season. And Benjamin says Newcastle own buildings around the ground. If they do expand, you'd be needing binoculars to see the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. Right, we'll be on More Than a Game at 2:15 previewing all the weekend stuff in the Premier League. So come over. Well, Ned will put a magic link that you don't have to do anything. So join us for more footy chat over there on this very warm Friday afternoon. See you later.